Have you ever felt the world glitch, not metaphorically, but palpably, as if invisible threads were tugging through the collective fabric at once? Entire groups awakening from identical dreams on the same night. Strangers across continents glancing at clocks that echo the same repeating numbers. Waves of déjà vu rolling through communities like ripples from a single unseen stone. You sense it, don't you? The subtle distortion of time when global events make whole weeks collapse into a breath, or stretch 1 hour into eternity. What you're feeling isn't madness, it's resonance. Humanity was never meant to live in sealed bubbles of perception. We exist within one shared quantum field, an invisible ocean of information where every thought, emotion, and intention vibrates through the whole. The chills that move across your skin, the bursts of clarity that arrive unannounced, the sudden emotional tides that seem to belong to no personal story, all of it is the field responding. These aren't isolated experiences. They are the fibers of a vaster design weaving itself through the collective. When you awaken, even for one coherent breath, you do not rise alone. You broadcast. Your alignment becomes a tone in the greater harmony. That is why sometimes you feel waves of grief or joy with no visible origin. They are not intrusions, but transmissions. You are both receiver and sender, tuning into the shared entanglement that binds all of us across distance and time. For too long, the world told you awakening was private, a solitary ascent within your own mind. But coherence is never solitary. Each conscious breath, each honest word, strengthens the lattice that holds humanity together. The hum you sometimes notice beneath everything, the quiet pulse behind the noise, isn't only yours, it is ours. It is the shared field calling you home to remembrance. That hum beneath everything, it lingers, doesn't it? A soft vibration you can almost feel behind your heartbeat, as though the air itself is alive with meaning. From that pulse, the next truth unfolds. The field is not an idea. It is the living architecture of connection. Imagine for a moment a vast lattice woven of light so fine that it passes through mountains and bone alike. Every thought you have sends a subtle tremor through this web, and every emotion you feel is registered by its tension. Scientists might call it entanglement, mystics might call it spirit, but beneath the names lies the same pattern: instant correspondence across distance, as though the universe has never known separation. You may have sensed this in moments of uncanny timing, thinking of someone seconds before they call, or feeling a sudden heaviness just before the world learns of tragedy. It's not imagination, it's participation. You are standing in the current of a collective nervous system that hums with the memories, hopes, and frequencies of billions. Each signal, no matter how faint, folds into the whole. The web does not merely record, it responds. When despair spikes across nations, the field darkens like weather. When compassion rises, the resonance clears. And you, one single consciousness, are both meteorologist and maker of that weather. The signal you emit blends into the great mix, shaping probability itself. Consider what this means for the idea of individuality. If every consciousness transmits, then none of us are static points. We are waveforms overlapping, beating together in interference patterns that build and collapse realities. What happens when millions tune to coherence at once? The field doesn't just change metaphorically, it reorganizes, finding a new equilibrium the way a tuning fork finds its note. You may notice this already. Cities, once restless, occasionally fall into strange stillness. Online spaces vibrate with simultaneous revelation. Hearts synchronize across borders without reason. These are not accidents. They are moments of alignment when the web tightens and awareness flickers through the whole. So when you breathe consciously, When you choose love instead of reaction, understand that the effect is not confined to your room. Somewhere unseen, a person you will never meet exhales more easily because your frequency entered the field. And when you lose your center, someone else's steadiness may carry you until you find it again. This is the mutual grace of entanglement, the quiet exchange of coherence between souls who may never know each other's names. It also explains why humanity's moods seem to swing like tides. The field amplifies what is most focused. 1,000 anxious minds can echo into millions, but a handful of coherent hearts can stabilize an entire wave of unrest. The web does not obey numbers, it obeys resonance. One clear signal can steady 1,000 incoherent ones, just as one steady rhythm can gather a room of scattered drummers back into time. And perhaps this is the deeper invitation to live as a node of stability within the collective circuit. You do not have to heal the world. You only have to hold frequency. Every genuine act of integrity, every breath of gratitude is data the field reads instantly. Over time, these signals accumulate, shifting the collective equation from chaos toward harmony. You can test this truth in your own life. Walk into a room filled with tension. Stay silent and breathe calmly. Watch how others begin to soften without knowing why. That is quantum influence made visible, the unseen web responding to the coherence you carry. In that sense, the spiritual journey stops being private self-work and becomes civic architecture. You are helping to build an energetic infrastructure through which future generations will think, feel, and create. Every mindful moment you inhabit becomes part of the scaffolding of a saner world. And as you hold this understanding, you begin to see the threads everywhere. Threads of empathy, threads of memory, threads of light connecting the hearts of strangers who suddenly recognize each other not through words but through vibration. You realize that the phrase "we are one" was never metaphor. It was physics spoken in the language of the soul. You can almost hear it now, the faint vibration that never stops. A hum that turns into rhythm once you give it your attention. That rhythm is the sound of us. Together, each being is an instrument, each life a tone. Some play softly, carrying the minor chords of grief or uncertainty. Others ring bright with courage and awe. The quantum field, this vast orchestra of resonance, never stops performing. It plays through the cities, through the forests, through the pulse of your veins, and though most can't hear it directly, they feel its tempo shaping the pace of their days. Consider how a single emotion can spread like melody. One person's laughter in a crowded space can lift 100 others. One act of cruelty can dampen the air in seconds. These are not metaphors. They are transmissions through the shared field, shifting the harmonics of the human song. When fear becomes collective, you hear the dissonance in global headlines, the anxious chatter that fills the networks. The tempo accelerates, the key sharpens. Yet when compassion rises, when millions send aid or prayer or quiet solidarity, the discord softens. The melody shifts, revealing that humanity's sound is not random, it is composed in real time by our shared attention. Imagine then what happens when enough of us begin to play consciously, when, instead of reacting to noise, we choose our note with precision. Every act of coherence, every moment of alignment between heart and thought is like tuning your instrument. You cannot control the entire symphony, but you can play your tone with clarity, and that clarity influences those nearby until the orchestra finds itself reorganized. Music, after all, is nothing but vibration seeking agreement. And so is reality. In quantum mechanics, particles synchronize through resonance. They find each other's phase and lock into rhythm. Consciousness behaves the same way. The frequencies you embody determine the timelines you attract and the people you harmonize with. You might call this fate, but in truth, It is acoustics life responding to the tone you emit. The tragedy and the beauty lie in the same revelation. The field amplifies whatever dominates. Noise breeds noise. Harmony multiplies harmony. And so the question is not whether you are playing, but what key you're in. Are you transmitting scarcity or abundance, fear or coherence? The field listens, it always has. In ancient stories, sages spoke of the music of the spheres, the notion that planets themselves sing as they move through the cosmos. Perhaps they were pointing to this same principle that the universe is not silent, but symphonic. Each consciousness a note, each civilization a chord. The song of humanity is still in its early movements, still tuning, still discordant. But beneath the surface noise, a theme of coherence is forming, a progression toward unity that no dissonance can erase for long. You might feel it when millions meditate together, or when global attention gathers in shared mourning or wonder. Time itself bends, moments expand, and something larger conducts through us. In those intervals, humanity remembers its rhythm. To live awake is to realize you are not a spectator at that concert, you are on stage, bow in hand, breath at the mouthpiece. The silence you keep, the words you choose, the presence you embody, all shape the chord the world hears next. And when enough of us align not in perfection, but in sincerity, the melody of fear loses its grip. The field begins to hum in a new key, one that feels like home. This is not a poetic fantasy, it is the physics of attention turning into harmony. So, before you act, pause, listen. The next thought you send is a note. The next feeling, a vibration joining the universal score. Play it with awareness, because even in your quietest moments, the field records your song, and someone, somewhere, may be finding their way back to coherence because of it. And as that symphony continues, something even deeper reveals itself, the realization that every note you play already contains the melody of the whole. Each sound, each life, is a hologram of the total song. Think of a hologram when you break a piece away. The image of the whole still appears within that fragment. Humanity works the same way. You are not a separate spark drifting alone in an indifferent universe. You are a microcosm of the collective pattern. Every gesture you make, every thought you form, mirrors and modifies the greater image. This is the essence of the holographic mirror. It means that your transformation is never isolated. When you heal, the field reorganizes. When you forgive, the pattern brightens. The frequencies encoded within you are the same frequencies that govern the collective. They are fractal reflections repeating across scales. The macro lives inside the micro, and what you shift internally translates directly into the outer geometry of the world. This is why one act of coherence can outweigh 1,000 gestures of confusion. It's not symbolic, it's structural. The holographic field amplifies alignment wherever it appears, because alignment is the organizing principle of creation itself. When you embody clarity, the mirror finds itself corrected, and distant fragments begin to glow with recognition. You may have felt this, the inexplicable relief that comes after someone, somewhere, chooses compassion over vengeance. You don't know their name, yet your body exhales. That's the hologram adjusting, the pattern rewriting itself through the choice of one. For centuries, mystics spoke of this mystery. As above, so below, they said. But the insight was never mystical alone, it was mechanical. Quantum entanglement shows that what happens in one region can instantaneously affect another, regardless of space. Consciousness behaves in precisely this way. Each of us carries within the code of the entire species. Your nervous system is an echo of humanity's. You're awakening a signal that radiates through every layer of the holographic grid. And so your body becomes more than flesh. It is an instrument of the collective evolution. When you hold grief consciously, you metabolize not just your sorrow, but the unspoken grief of generations. When you embody joy, you release potential joy that was waiting in the field. Every cell, like every shard of the hologram, contains the entire design. It is humbling, isn't it? To realize that nothing you do is ever truly private. The mirror reflects endlessly the anger you project, the peace you practice each ripples through the web. You may never see the faces it touches, but you will feel the echo return in ways that appear like synchronicity, like timing too perfect to be coincidence. This also means that your struggles are not proof of failure, they are evidence of resonance. When a fragment begins to heal, the entire image shifts, and tension arises where the old distortion no longer fits. That discomfort is not punishment, it's recalibration. The mirror is reassembling itself through you. So when you choose presence instead of reaction, when you pause before repeating an old pattern, you're not just improving your personal narrative, you are revising the collective script. The field learns through your nervous system. The hologram updates through your coherence. And here lies the paradox: you are both the fragment and the whole, the ocean and the drop, the observer and the reflection. What you do to yourself, you do to all. What you withhold from yourself, the world cannot receive. This is the quantum ethic, the sacred feedback loop that turns awakening into service. You might imagine humanity as a single vast mirror fractured by time, each piece reflecting both light and shadow. Every act of awareness you bring polishes one shard, and suddenly, the light refracts more clearly through all the rest. That is the quiet miracle of participation. You are polishing reality itself. So the next time you ask, what can one person do? Remember, this one coherent fragment reorganizes the entire hologram. You need no followers, no grand stage. Your clarity is the revolution, your coherence, the catalyst. Through you, the whole remembers itself. And as that mirror clears, what begins to surface is not just light, but everything that obscured it. The distortions rise to be seen, the ancient script of fear, scarcity, and separation that once shaped the human field. You can feel it trembling now, can't you? The structures that held the illusion together are coming undone. This old script was clever. It whispered that you were alone. It taught you to compete for worth, to chase validation, to survive at any cost. It made you believe that love was a transaction and that power meant domination. For millennia, this frequency looped through our collective narrative like static on a broken record. It built empires, hierarchies, and inner prisons, convincing humanity that division was natural law. But every script has a lifespan, and this one has reached its final act. You can see it everywhere: the collapsing systems, the institutions that once seemed immovable now crumbling under their own weight. You can feel it in your own body, when the old habits of fear suddenly feel unbearable, as if your cells refuse to vibrate at those frequencies anymore. What you're sensing is not personal instability, it's a collective recalibration. The field no longer supports dissonance as a foundation, and yet collapse is not destruction. It is revelation. When a script dissolves, it reveals the blank page beneath, the pure potential waiting to be rewritten. The chaos that fills the world right now is not failure, it is the turbulence of transformation, the sound of the orchestra retuning before the next movement begins. Still, the mind resists. It clings to what was familiar even when it hurts. You might find yourself oscillating between exhilaration and exhaustion, between clarity and confusion. That fluctuation is the echo of the old frequency fading out. The invisible infrastructure of separation is losing coherence, and your nervous system is adjusting to the higher tempo of unity. In physics, When a system undergoes phase transition, ice melting, water boiling, it passes through chaos before stabilizing in a new form. That's what humanity is experiencing, a quantum phase shift. The patterns that once governed thought and behavior are destabilizing, and new patterns of coherence are emerging. It is tempting to label this moment as crisis. But what if crisis is only the human word for metamorphosis? What if the pain of collapse is simply the body of humanity learning to breathe in a higher frequency of truth? Look around, people leaving careers that no longer resonate. Relationships dissolving not from failure but from authenticity, demanding more space. Belief systems unraveling as new questions emerge. Every unraveling is an initiation. And amid the rubble, you will notice something astonishing: new structures forming, not from control but from coherence. Communities built around shared intention rather than shared fear. Economies inspired by collaboration rather than competition. Even science beginning to speak to spirit again, daring to describe consciousness as fundamental rather than accidental. The script is rewriting itself in real time, and you are one of its authors. But authorship requires courage. To write a new frequency into the collective, you must stop reciting the old lines. Every time you refuse to repeat the story of lack, you erase a fragment of the ancient code. Every moment you choose truth over convenience, you reinforce the emerging pattern. The field listens, it always listens. So when the news blares chaos and the world feels unstable, remember, this is the necessary dissonance before harmony. The old narrative cannot coexist with the vibration of awakening. The invisible script is dissolving, not because the world is ending, but because the new one has already begun. You can sense it under the noise, the hum of coherence rising through the fractures, the faint melody of unity threading through the static. The mirror is reassembling itself. The orchestra is tuning, and the play is shifting scenes. You are not losing the world. You are watching it shed its disguise. In this revelation, a truth becomes clear: endings are not death, but resonance choosing a new octave. The collapse is simply the pause between breaths, the moment the universe inhales before exhaling its next creation. And that next creation is being written through you. From the ashes of that old script rises a quieter, deeper calling, the realization that awakening is not escape, but participation. The field does not need more theories of light. It needs living transmitters of coherence. This is where embodiment enters, not as philosophy, but as service. When the mind awakens first, it often seeks to teach, to convince, to name. But when the body awakens, there is nothing left to prove. The coherence itself becomes the message. You may notice that when you stand in calm presence, the people around you unconsciously slow their breath. That's not charisma, that's resonance. Your nervous system becomes a tuning fork, aligning others without words. This is quantum service transformation by frequency rather than instruction. For centuries, we imagined service as sacrifice, pouring ourselves out until nothing remained. But depletion belongs to the old paradigm. True service flows from overflow, not scarcity. When your own field is coherent, giving ceases to drain you. It multiplies you. The more you embody alignment, the more you generate energy instead of spending it. You become, quite literally, regenerative. Embodiment means coherence translated into motion, integrity, felt truth, lived alignment between thought, emotion, and action. When what you believe, feel, and do vibrate in harmony, the quantum field recognizes you as a stabilizing node. Energy begins to flow toward you, not away. People are drawn to that steadiness because their systems are longing to remember it. You've seen this effect in microcosm, how one centered person can calm a room of chaos, or how a single act of grace can disarm a spiral of anger. Multiply that by millions of coherent individuals, and you glimpse the blueprint of collective evolution. The field does not evolve through ideology. It evolves through embodied example. So ask yourself not what you believe, but what frequency your body carries. Does your breath align with your intentions? Does your posture express the peace you speak of? Embodiment is where spiritual insight meets biological reality. The nervous system becomes the conduit through which the quantum field translates consciousness into matter. When you breathe consciously, you are literally recalibrating the electromagnetic rhythm that connects your heart to the world. And this is why embodiment is not indulgence, it's contribution. Each time you regulate your breath, you steady the field. Each time you respond with compassion instead of reaction, you reprogram the morphic resonance of humanity toward coherence. You are, in essence, updating the species' operating code. It can be subtle. Sometimes service looks like silence instead of speech, stillness instead of motion. Sometimes it's the smile that softens another's despair, or the patience that interrupts centuries of inherited rage. None of it is wasted. The quantum field records every gesture of alignment, amplifying it through the holographic mirror until it reaches those who need it most. Even science gestures toward this mystery. Studies of coherence between heart and brain reveal measurable synchronization across groups, meditating together even at a distance. The invisible web responds instantly when coherence rises. It is as if the universe itself exhales, relieved to hear its own harmony played again through human instruments. And yet, embodiment is not a performance. You cannot fake resonance any more than you can pretend to breathe. It is cultivated through honesty, through the daily choice to bring your actions into alignment with your knowing. That's why the simplest acts, keeping promises, listening deeply, moving slowly, are sacred technologies. They tune your instrument, allowing the greater orchestra to follow. In this light, service loses its heaviness. You realize you are not fixing the world. You are remembering wholeness on its behalf. Every step taken in awareness becomes a quiet prayer. Every breath a broadcast of peace. The field does not need saviors. It needs steady frequencies. And when enough of us embody that steadiness, the new timeline stabilizes on its own. So you see, the revolution was never about louder voices or grander gestures. It was about resonance embodied in the ordinary, the quiet heart, the coherent breath, the honest word. These are the tuning points of a new civilization. Through you, coherence begins form. Through you, awakening becomes service without effort, radiance without exhaustion. And somewhere, unseen, the collective feels lighter because you remembered to breathe. And now, after embodiment has taken root, the question arises: how do you sustain this alignment when the world pulls you back into noise? The answer is not hidden in temples or teachings. It lives in the simplicity of practice. Coherence is not achieved once it is tuned, again and again, like an instrument adjusting to the temperature of the room. And you, friend, are the instrument. Every moment is an invitation to tune. Begin with the breath, for it is the first bridge between worlds. Inhale slowly, not to control, but to listen. The air that enters your lungs is not separate from the field. It carries the frequencies of the collective. As you draw it in, imagine that you are receiving the entire world into yourself. Hold it gently, then exhale longer than you inhaled, as though returning the breath purified, coherent, resonant. Each exhalation stabilizes the field around you. Try this when confusion rises. 3 slow breaths can reset a timeline. This isn't metaphor, it's physiology meeting quantum participation. Your nervous system transmits coherence at measurable frequencies. When you breathe consciously, you are teaching the body to remember what harmony feels like, and the field learns through you. Next, the practice of declaration. Words, too, are frequencies. When spoken from coherence, they do not merely describe reality, they sculpt it. Take a pen, write the scripts you are ready to release, the old affirmations of lack, the tired phrases of self-doubt. See them as data belonging to a timeline you've outgrown. Then write new declarations, not fantasies, but frequencies. I am aligned. I am coherent. I serve the field through my being. Speak them aloud until your body believes the tone of your own voice. The field listens to conviction more than vocabulary. Another practice is reflection. Stand before a mirror, hand on heart, and meet your own gaze as if meeting the universe in human form. Whisper, I see you. I choose coherence. This is not self-soothing, it is recalibration. In that reflection, you are addressing the holographic mirror itself, reminding every fragment of the collective that it belongs to the whole. Group synchronization magnifies this exponentially. Gather physically or virtually with others who understand that the invisible web responds to shared intention. Sit together in silence, breathing as one organism, no need for words. 3 minutes of unified rhythm creates measurable coherence across the field. You may feel a sudden stillness, as though time briefly forgets its linearity. That stillness is the signature of alignment. Integrity is another practice, perhaps the most advanced of all. It demands no special ritual, only honesty. Each time you choose transparency over pretense, compassion over reaction, presence over distraction, you are transmitting stability into the field. Integrity is coherence in motion. The collective reorganizes itself around such actions, even if the surface of the world doesn't seem to change immediately. These micro-practices may appear small, but they are fractal. Within each lies the entire pattern of awakening. In the holographic field, scale is irrelevant, the part contains the whole. A single conscious breath can travel through the web like lightning, igniting forgotten nodes of awareness across continents. Remember also the practice of listening. Not listening to seek meaning, but to attune. Listen to the hum beneath the city, to the rhythm of footsteps, to the pulse of your own blood. The universe speaks not in words, but in waveforms. When you learn its language, even silence becomes instruction. And then there is gratitude, the subtle rewriter of probability. Gratitude changes the harmonics of the heart. It loosens resistance, allowing coherence to flow unhindered. When you wake, before touching your phone or your worries, let the first thought be thank you, not for something, but for existence itself. That simple vibration ripples through the field more effectively than hours of anxious intention. What these practices share is their accessibility. They belong to no doctrine, require no initiation. They are the mechanics of resonance made human. Through them, you remind the collective that enlightenment is not an abstract state, but a daily calibration, a science of remembering our interconnected rhythm. And over time, as these practices become instinct, you notice the shift. Chaos still appears, but it no longer infiltrates. The breath remains steady. The field around you begins to quiet, as if recognizing you as an anchor point. This is coherence, not as escape, but as influence. Not withdrawal from the world, but the rewiring of it, one breath, one declaration, one moment of integrity at a time. You may have noticed it already, the way synchronicities have multiplied, the way time sometimes folds in on itself. These are not coincidences. They are the symptoms of coherence spreading through the collective field. When enough fragments vibrate in harmony, reality begins to shimmer, like water catching new light. Across the planet, patterns once thought isolated are now interlacing. Strangers report the same dreams on the same nights. Numbers recur across millions of screens, and emotion rises and falls like weather shared across continents. The field is speaking in symbols again, and humanity is finally listening. Look around. The institutions built on the old frequency are cracking, not because of failure, but because they cannot contain the new resonance. Systems of control, economies of fear, hierarchies of dominance, they tremble because the signal of coherence exposes their instability. The field is self-correcting. What was once hidden in the shadows of separation now vibrates into view. The truth is not arriving. It has been here all along, waiting for collective sight to open. And though this revelation looks chaotic from the ground, there is order in the turbulence. It is the same pattern observed when magnetic particles suddenly align under an unseen field before the moment of synchronization. They scatter wildly, then all at once, they snap into symmetry. Humanity is approaching that snap point. You can feel it in your bones. The tension between collapse and creation, despair and hope, silence and roar, this is the energy of reorganization. You are witnessing the species rewire itself. The observer effect no longer applies to individuals alone. It has scaled to the collective. What billions choose to observe through attention, emotion, and imagination now determines the trajectories of civilizations. This is why media, culture, and narrative matter more than ever. Attention is currency in the quantum economy of consciousness. Where humanity focuses, the field flows. Every shared story, every viral thought form is a collective experiment in manifestation. When fear becomes the loudest signal, probabilities of conflict multiply. But when even a fraction of the population anchors love without condition, the field tilts toward healing. It is not metaphor, it is mathematics of resonance, and the signs are visible. More people are turning inward, practicing stillness, rethinking consumption, choosing presence over distraction. Compassion, once niche, is becoming pragmatic. Collaboration is replacing competition as a survival strategy. These are not social trends, they are morphic transmissions from the emerging frequency. Science itself is beginning to bow toward this mystery. Researchers speak of coherence between distant systems, of entangled states that defy classical explanation. They are measuring, in the language of data, what mystics have sung for millennia, that consciousness is not a byproduct, but a participant. Humanity's growing intuition that we are one is not wishful thinking. It is the field remembering itself. You can test this shift in small ways. Notice how quickly intention manifests now, how rapidly synchronicity answers aligned thought. The time between cause and effect is shrinking because the collective vibration has accelerated. Reality is becoming more responsive to coherence. The veil between imagination and form is thinning, not as fantasy, but as evolution. And yet this acceleration also magnifies distortion. That's why disinformation spreads faster, why emotions feel louder, why polarities sharpen before dissolving. The amplification is neutral. It reveals both the harmonic and the dissonant. Your task is not to judge, but to choose which frequency you reinforce with your attention. The collective awakening is not coming. It is underway. You can feel it in conversations that now touch depths once avoided, in art that trembles with honesty, in the silent courage of those leaving systems that no longer honor the soul. There is grief in it, yes, but it is sacred grief. The ache of shedding an old skin. Listen closely beneath the noise of division. Something steady hums, a pulse of unity too ancient to extinguish. That hum is coherence spreading, the signature of humanity's next octave. The field is aligning, and even those who resist the shift will be carried by it, for the tide of consciousness rises for all. So when the world feels strange, don't despair. You are not witnessing destruction. You are hearing the overture of a new movement. The instruments are tuning. The tempo is quickening. The melody of awakening is breaking through the static, and you are part of the orchestra bringing it into form. From that rising hum emerges something unmistakable, a movement not led by anyone, yet guided by everyone. It is the wave. You have felt it in flashes, a sudden clarity that isn't yours alone. An inexplicable surge of hope amid uncertainty. This is the motion of the collective field reorganizing itself through you. Each of us is a droplet within this living tide. For centuries, the ocean of humanity has been turbulent, churning with separation, whipped by winds of survival. But beneath that chaos, a deeper current has been building, gathering momentum across generations. Now the wave crests. It is not coming someday. It is already rising beneath your feet. The metaphor is more than poetic. A wave is not composed of water moving forward. It is energy passing through water. Likewise, the awakening is not people escaping the world. It is consciousness moving through humanity. You are not the passenger, but the passage. The energy of coherence flows through your system, reshaping thought, emotion, and choice as it travels onward. When you resist, the water becomes choppy, the energy dissipates. When you surrender, not in passivity, but in trust, the wave lifts you effortlessly. This is how the new frequency carries you, not by command, but by resonance. You rise when you match its rhythm. Every great transformation begins this way. History's revolutions, renaissances, and cultural births were never accidents. They were collective resonances peaking at once. The quantum field holds every potential timeline, but only those amplified by shared attention become visible. Right now, coherence is the dominant note emerging through the dissonance. It may not look like it on the surface, but beneath the media noise and political turbulence, billions of subtle choices are harmonizing. Look closer. People are choosing authenticity over conformity, integrity over convenience, compassion over cynicism. These are the molecular shifts that generate the macro wave. And once coherence crosses critical mass, it becomes self-propagating. Morphic resonance ensures that what was once difficult becomes instinctive. The field learns from itself. You can sense it in the speed of awakening. A century ago, the insights of a mystic took decades to reach another continent. Now they flash across the planet in seconds, lighting up dormant circuits of understanding in millions. This is the wave teaching itself how to move faster through the human network, and it changes how time feels. Days stretch, then collapse, as if chronology can't quite keep up. That's because coherence bends temporal perception. The more aligned we become, the more we experience simultaneity, the feeling that everything significant is happening now. The wave exists outside linear sequence. It rolls through eternity, one heartbeat at a time. You may wonder what your role is in such vastness. It is simpler than you think. You are here to surf the frequency, not to control the ocean, to embody steadiness amid acceleration, to remember that even when the surface breaks into chaos, the depth below is calm. The ocean does not fear its waves. It creates them. Humanity, too, is remembering this. We are not fragments trying to reassemble. We are the ocean learning to express itself as form. Every act of coherence, each conscious breath, each quiet forgiveness is like a swell contributing to the rising tide. And though each wave seems separate, the water beneath is one continuum, ancient and indivisible. There will be moments when the surge feels overwhelming, when the speed of change rattles the nervous system. In those times, pause, place a hand over your heart and remind yourself, I am the wave, not the debris. Let the energy move through you instead of around you. In doing so, you become both student and teacher of the new rhythm. You'll begin to notice the synchrony everywhere, movements that echo each other across cultures, creative bursts arriving simultaneously in distant minds, kindness spreading like wildfire without central coordination. The wave is conducting all of it. It is the collective body remembering how to move as one organism, no longer against itself, but through itself. And here's the wonder: the more this coherence expands, the less the ego can claim ownership. The I gives way to the we, and the we dissolves into the living field itself. What once felt like awakening becomes participation. What once felt like effort becomes flow. Humanity's great task is no longer to wake up individually, but to stay awake together. This is what it means to rise as the wave. You are not separate from the transformation. You are its movement, its texture, its sound. The ocean has found its rhythm, and you are its crest, shimmering in the sunlight of a new world forming. The wave crests, and for a moment everything stills. You feel it, the pause between frequencies, the inhale before the universe exhales again. This is where alignment becomes declaration, not an idea, a living act. You've spent lifetimes searching for proof, waiting for permission to believe that your small coherence could matter. But the field has been listening all along. Every breath, every intention, every act of honesty has been a signal sent into the fabric of reality. Now it's time to claim that signal consciously, to speak it into form. A declaration is not a wish. It is resonance made audible. When you say, "I am coherent," the words rearrange molecules. When you whisper, "I align with the higher rhythm," the field recalibrates. You are not sending energy out. You are reminding the quantum field what it already knows, that the pattern of wholeness exists inside you. So stand still for a moment. Breathe deep. Feel the hum behind your ribs, the quiet that expands after the storm of thought. Let that stillness speak through you. Let your declaration rise not from mind, but from marrow. I align with coherence. I serve the awakening. I am the signal of unity embodied. It doesn't matter if you whisper it in solitude or type it into the endless scroll of the digital world. The field doesn't care about volume. It responds to sincerity. Each authentic declaration strengthens the morphic resonance of awakening, creating ripples that weave through humanity's holographic mirror. This is not symbolic, it's mechanical. Declarations collapse probability. They carve intention into the quantum foam of possibility, stabilizing a new timeline where coherence becomes the norm rather than the anomaly. And so, this moment is not a finale, but a beginning. Your declaration becomes the tuning fork the world calibrates to. You are no longer seeking the signal, you are emitting it. Remember, every I spoken from alignment becomes we in the field's language. Every declaration made from truth becomes a chord in the planetary symphony. And as those chords converge, the hum turns to harmony, the sound of a species remembering itself. Now breathe once more and let it settle. You are the coherence, the chorus, the wave returning home. The wave recedes, but its echo remains a soft vibration in the air, like the afterglow of sacred music. You can feel it lingering in your chest, the memory of coherence still humming through your breath. This is the silence that follows awakening, not emptiness, but fullness without noise. You may think the journey ends here, yet what unfolds now is gentler and infinitely more real. Integration, living the truth you've glimpsed, moment by moment, in small human gestures, the patience to listen, the courage to stay kind, the grace to keep breathing even when uncertainty returns, because it will return. The field moves in cycles, expanding and contracting, like the tide of consciousness itself. But each contraction happens at a higher octave than before. Once you've felt the unity beneath separation, you can never fully forget. The memory becomes compass and anchor both. So let this be your quiet commitment not to grand missions or flawless enlightenment, but to coherence in motion, to walk as one who remembers, to speak as one who transmits calm, to breathe as one who carries the field wherever they go. And when the world trembles again, as it will, you'll know what that hum beneath chaos really is. It's the signal of home calling itself back into harmony through you. So rest now, friend. The field is listening. The song continues, and you are still part of its rhythm.